Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned, and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The drifters, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to show number 2727. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, Woman Fox, and my cock. And you are in the men's room. On tap today, the random question is back. Your guess is as good as mine. Categories, roommates, and food. The return of Ask the Men's Room. Get ready to play Profile This. Plus headlines, the Men's Room Shot of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorites, TV Time with Ted. Click, clack.
Jiggity, John.
All right, here we go. New York stock trader goes to Costa Rica to avoid bears and bulls and gets eaten by a shark. To Canada, where owls are now attacking dogs, taking out 4 different eyeballs in one park. Woman busted at border trying to smuggle 227 pounds of bologna into the States. Bad Fiction Award for Writing Award is something to be said on one of your latest dates. And a man goes to Waffle House and hooks himself up. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours, all right? There's that old saying, finders keepers. And that's great if what you find is something that you would like to claim as your own. For example, a woman in England, she looked out at her driveway and found a homeless couple having sex. Now, she says she debated calling the cops or making them tea. In the end, she called the cops. Now, she found them, but she did not want to keep them around. And let's stay in England for another example of finders keepers is only cool if you want it. Fans of the Sunderland Black Cat soccer team, they found a guy sitting in his seat during the game with his pants down. He was both sitting in his seat and doing something that rhymes with sitting in his seat. For no other reason than sheer laziness, the man defecated where he sat. He's just sitting with his pants down, face buried in his hands, and he's letting one loose. They have the pixelated picture floating around the web. Now, someone found his little pile of offering, but they didn't want to keep it. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we offer you a possum from Florida. And, of course, this possum is from Florida. Why do I say that? Well, because this particular possum found its way into a liquor store, discovered bourbon, and then guess what it did? It drank the bourbon, and then guess what it did? It got drunk. They actually had to detox the thing at some animal shelter or somewhere else. It'll be fine. They released it back in the wild, but they said before we release this thing back into the wild, we need to detox it. But the possum found bourbon. He kept that bourbon. These are some of the stories we saw that led to many, many questions. Questions we'd like to ask you in the form of a random question. And this is how it works. You call us. We ask you a question at complete random. And after you share your glorious tale with us, we will share with you the story that inspired said question.
Be part of the big show and a random question. Call 844-999-OLA. You can like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitches. You're listening to the Men's Room.
Hola, Macholos, and away we go. Welcome to show number 2727. That would be 2727 to you and me. Big show for you today. Your guess is as good as mine. The categories will be roommates and food. Things that your roommates do that absolutely drive you crazy and probably lead to the last time in your life that you will ever had, said roommate. And food around the world. Those are your categories coming up on Your Guess is as good as mine. Also, the return of Ask the Men's Room. We'll drink and toast. And, of course, another round coming up of Profile This. And today is the day we do our random question. 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Dylan. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola.
Hola. Hello, Dylan.
How's it going?
We're doing well. How are you, sir?
Fantastic.
I'm doing all right. Hey, Thrill.
What?
I'm not wearing any underwear.
I hope you're not, man. Are you wearing pants?
I am.
Well, that kind of rules it.
You gotta have...
No. There's something much more alluring about the idea of you just sitting ass naked on a chair talking to us right now, because I will do the same for you.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
No worries.
Dylan, let's
the
go
joke
with
was
this one.
about pants. Somehow the way you just kind of told Thrill you're not wearing underwear now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what people used to say. I'm not wearing underwear. I was like the idea that he's not wearing pants either.
Dylan, let's ask you this one. Other than pants, what do you wish you still owned?
Oh, man. I got a Nintendo 64 when I was, 6. And I had every game, everything you could get for it. And when I was 12, I wanted an Xbox, and so I sold it to the neighbor kid for $30. And I wish I still had it, because I've seen what some of those games go for and all that, and I realized I just gave it away.
Yeah. It probably would still work, too. If I went back to my original game controller, it probably wouldn't even hook up to the television.
But can't you, buy the equivalent now with all the games installed? My kid doesn't know this, but one of the things I got for me, to be dead honest, there's it's $40, and it's the size of, I don't know, takes out a little bit smaller than a toaster, but stand it up, right? And it's this little video game thing. And it has 84, 8-bit games built in. All the crap you played. Mm-hmm. So Galaga, all that kind of crap. And he doesn't, it's for me, but I'm going to put his name on it. Then when he opens it, I'm going to play it for him. But I want to say, didn't Nintendo put out the same thing a couple of years ago where it looked like the console, you could hook it up to a modern-day TV, but it had, every game they'd ever put out built in?
Hell, man, you can buy, there are certain arcade cabinets that have a trackball, they have a joystick, they have all the basic things that you need to play any video game, and they basically just stack the deck with 1,000 games into one machine.
I got close. Yeah. Well, let me rephrase that. I didn't get close to buying one. You're talking the full size, put it in your basement. So I'm like, man, that's a great idea. And I looked at the price, and it was $2,500, and I still don't have one.
Yeah,
I just
that's
thought
part
it'd
of the
be
problem.
cheaper.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I was I can't do it.
This guy had
you gotta make sure you're gonna play it enough, and then number 2, you gotta have the space for it.
Well, I think you would play it just based on the fact that it has so many different games. So part of this thing I bought for my kid, he doesn't know these games. I mean, he's growing up in the time where graphics look good, but he's still young enough that these crappy looking graphics and the horrible music that goes with it is still cool to him. So I saw this thing. Listen, 84 games. I knew most of them. I'm like, I'm buying 3 AA batteries. Mm-hmm. Count me in, man.
Good times. Reason we asked, what do you wish you still own? This is a tough one. A Welsh IT worker who lost a hard drive containing thousands and thousands of bitcoins now thinks he made a mistake that cost him around $74 million.
Well, then that was a mistake.
James Howell's fortune is buried deep below thousands of rubbish on a landfill site in Newport. He checked out the hard drive back in 2013, forgetting that it contained the cryptocurrency, which even then was worth just maybe a few £1,000s. When the story hit the news in 2013, his hard drive was worth around $4 million. But one Bitcoin was worth more than $11,000 on Sunday night after its price surged by 1,000% since the start of the year. The 32-year-old began mining Bitcoins on his laptop in 2009. He mined 7,500, which he saved in a wallet file on his computer hard drive. He said, after I had stopped mining, the laptop had used was broken into parts and sold on eBay. However, I kept the hard drive in a drawer at home knowing it contained my Bitcoin private keys, so that if Bitcoin did become valuable one day, I'd still have the coins that I'd mine. In mid-2013, during a clear-out, the hard drive, then worth a few £100,000, was mistakenly thrown out and put into a general waste bin at my local landfill, which was then buried on site. But James said he's not crying about it and added, accidents happen. I'll just get on with it. I've always known that Bitcoin would go this high, and I've always known the value of the hard drive would go up. He says in the future, I see it easily being worth anywhere from $500 million to $1 billion somewhere buried in a landfill in Wales.
And he's saying, I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to sweat this.
Yeah.
I've lost $20, fell out of my wallet, blew down the street, and I was pissed. I got over that. If someone told me, what is it right now, $100 and some million?
Well, he says basically, it's worth enough where he has already, has been seeking permission from Newport to go to the laptop and go look for it in the landfill. He believes he can pinpoint the laptop's location by estimating its depth based on the date it was thrown away. James added, the higher the value goes, the more chance I have to recover it, so it's just been a waiting game for the last few years, waiting until the Bitcoin price was high enough to make the drive a juicy enough treasure hunt.
What point does he need it to get at where that's worth looking for?
He should have gone as soon as he lost it. But I will also say this. I think there's a good chance he finally goes to get it, and it's just going to be crap.
You would think there's something else you could do to prove that.
Like it's at the bottom of a landfill. There's got to be wetness and juices leaking out of stuff.
Ted, I think you were the first person to tell me about Bitcoin back in the day. Do you remember what it was early on?
I mean, I don't know what it was back in the. I know when I first heard about it, I want to say it was like $100-some for one.
Okay,
and now it's like thousands. And there's different cryptocurrencies, but it's pretty amazing.
It's $11,000 now, so the share you bought for $100 will be worth $11,000. That's pretty impressive
for right now. But then there's so much stuff going on with that cryptocurrency. So like Bitcoin is basically the MySpace of it all. It's someone we all know about. It's someone everyone's jumping on board. And I don't feel like going through all the semantics of it, but apparently there is a very specific nation working on their own cryptocurrency that can be used anywhere in the world. That basically what they did was this: they did what Apple Music did when the record industry bankrupted Napster, right? So they said, okay, the banks and all that don't like Bitcoin for all the obvious reasons they don't, but then some very savvy individuals who have enough startup capital said, hey, this is what people want to trade. People that do serious trading, people that don't want to pay all the excess taxes and all that, not people like you and me, but the serious players in the world, they want to use this. Mm-hmm. So they're developing the one that will become Apple iTunes, essentially, where they'll replace Bitcoin. It'll be reduced to nothing, but yeah, some people get on board and go, this is what people want. Maybe we should develop this for them. And they already have ridiculous numbers of investors.
Kind of like marijuana and like the pharmaceutical. We can make a weed pill.
Right. That's all you need to do.
That's all we need to do. That easy.
Random.
Hello, Marchie. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola. Marchie, let's see here. How about this one for you, buddy? What can you do really quickly? What are you very efficient at? So what in your lifetime are you like, if you say like, hey, vacuum the place, could you do it real well? Are you good at folding clothes? Are you good at solving puzzles? Hell, we got a guy in the building who can solve a Rubik's Cube in 30 seconds.
It's irritating.
So a couple things. I'm really efficient with folding laundry and dishes, but I'd say the thing that I'm best at is probably rolling a joint really quick. There was one time where I had about a minute and a half to get home, roll it, and get back onto the bus to go to work, and I got to the bus just as it pulled up.
Okay.
Good work.
Yes. Do you do people compliment you on your joint rolling skills?
I do. If I go to parties, typically somebody will just throw a bunch in front of me and just tell me to get to work, and then they'll just keep feeding me beer, and I'll just keep producing, and that's kind of that's what I end up doing for a lot of parties.
All right, is this not a bad gig, man?
Is this from practice, or did you just find out like, wow, this comes natural to me? I'm just a good joint roller.
It was a little bit of both. Honestly, I got a job in a kitchen, got a roommate, and told him I didn't know how to do it. And so literally every day before work, he just threw me everything, and he's like, all right, you're going to learn.
Yep.
And then I just got really good really quick at it.
Well, Marcy, let me ask you this. What would you say would be your biggest tip for the joint rolling novice out there as far as what they could be doing better or what they're doing wrong? Like, well, what is your tip when you're rolling a joint?
I really like to use zigzag cut corners, and then I will take the bottom part of the paper and kind of fold it to make a little square, and I feel like that just helps get you to kind of roll it up and over so you get a nice consistent joint.
So you make a little boat at the bottom, you make a U-shaped fold, in other words, two folds in your paper.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. I know the technique well. I probably mine don't look aesthetically good, but I know enough now not to roll them too tight where they can't burn through.
Right.
That was one of the things I used to do back in the day. Like I rolled it tight.
Right.
Well, you don't want a tight joint. Like there's a reason why it's loose leaf tobacco that's put into a cigar because it's loose leaf. So loose leaf burns better than when it's real tight. And sometimes you have that little pen thing over like, dude, I'm not getting anything. You're like, got red tighty. Well, that's not good sometimes. So you
mine always have a weird bend in them. Like they just have like a little
curve in them?
Yeah.
A little lump.
You roll their penises?
Well, no, it's just the way I
Curved
roll
to the
them. My
left.
big trick is just use your thumb and your middle finger. Everybody's instinct is to use the pointer.
You're right, man. Somehow
you use the thumb and the middle finger, huh?
Yeah, no, he's right.
And then
You
use
are
your
right.
index
My
finger to kind of
instinct
push
is
it
to
in.
use my index, but right, when you use the middle, it goes a lot faster,
Ted.
always more consistent.
Never thought of that. That's genius. That way the fingers on your index fingers can do some work.
Control it.
You're right. But wow, that was mind blowing for me. No, I'm dead serious.
You never seen that?
No, not to you.
No, he's right,
I've seen
do
it.
it,
I just
right?
never thought
Now
it
it makes
through.
sense.
Yeah. Wow. We can go home now. I'm good.
Show over.
Let's go home and start
Have
rolling
you
joints.
ever rolled a blunt?
I have not rolled a joint like that. That makes complete sense, though. I mean, I've rolled a joint, but I always use my index finger.
Right.
Absolutely right.
So
It
everybody
spills
does.
over and does all that stuff. But you're right. I never thought of that.
All right.
Unbelievable.
Everybody's welcome.
Okay. Thank you. That's why we asked for tips there.
And an angel got its wings.
I'm cracking a beer after that. Man, the hell of this. I'm thirsty. The reason we asked what can you do really quickly or efficiently at, we know who Chris Stapleton is. He's the country music artist who goes back and does more of an older school version of country.
I was getting ready to say, I have no idea who he is.
Chris Stapleton is, he's got a big beard and he's,
I'm black. I don't know who he is.
You would like his
I'm
music.
sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm with Miles on this one. You would like Chris
I'm
Stapleton.
like, John Singleton? No, Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
Well, imagine all the country music you hear, and then like old school country with like a man talking
guitars
man.
and, you know.
Yeah,
So,
that's
like
what Chris Stapleton
all the
is.
country you heard. People that narrate more than they sing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
I
that.
was running down the road.
It's pretty well like that, yeah. So Chris Stapleton is on a Sunday morning show that I've never heard of. You ever heard of Sunday Today with Willie Geist?
Yeah.
What is that?
You know Willie Geist?
No.
He does he was on the Today Show forever. If you watch the Olympics, he's on the Olympics a lot. He's always a very excited guy that's like, hey, it's 3 a.m. in Sochi.
Okay, all right. Well, he's got his own show.
Yeah.
And Chris Stapleton and his wife Morgan were on the show, and they were talking about how Chris is a prolific songwriter. So Willie had heard that Chris wrote a song in 10 minutes. So he asked him if that actually happened, and it turns out the song is Daddy Don't Pray Anymore. Damn. And that from his Traveler album. And the story of how that went down is pretty funny. He was waiting for Morgan to get ready so they could go out one night. Now listen to this. This might come as a shock if you're in a relationship, but she was taking a little too long.
You don't.
One of the parties was running late. Chris says, quote, I was like, hey, we're going to be late.
We're going to be late.
And she was like, well, go out there and write a song or something. So I went out there and I wrote a song in 10 minutes. And then we left. That's how
I
the song was
don't care
written.
if your hair is a mess.
That's almost how things work.
Just hurry the hell up and get dressed.
It's almost like a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like I can write a song in the amount of time it takes you to get the hell out of here. And she would like, well,
It
then
is
go write a
country.
song then. And he went like, all right, I'll go write a song. I'll show you.
Daddy don't pray anymore.
And that's how that went down. I'm
Your
pretty
mama
sure.
needs so much makeup, she's mistaken for a whore.
Random.
What you think now? You want me to keep writing songs? You just want to hurry and get ready.
Yeah. Put on that rouge.
Eating pistachios with some ashy hoe. She smells like tuna casserole. Hello. God damn it. Emily, welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, Emily, how are you?
Oh, you know, peachy.
Okay, this is going to be, Emily, I'm trusting your brain power. You sound like a smart lady.
You really think so?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is a challenging question, I think. What,
All right, I'm ready.
and it's not based on what you like. It's basically what you consume. What 4 foods would you say you consume the most? So if you have a yogurt every day, and you've had a yogurt every day for the last, 10 years, whatever, you eat a lot of yogurt, that's got to be up there. But what 4 foods?
Coffee.
Coffee?
Pizza.
Pizza?
Wings.
Chicken wings?
I was going to say buckets of chicken.
Are you a man?
I have boobs and I sit to pee. No.
Okay, and what else?
I know some dudes that have boobs
Me
and
too.
sit to pee. That means nothing.
And they love pizza and chicken wings.
Those same guys.
I'll teach you the handshake. Okay, so coffee, pizza, wings, and what else?
Beer.
Beer. My God, woman. Okay. Those are the 4 things you seriously...
Marijuana count?
Yeah, but I mean, okay. Are those... All right, let's take
When
away
she
the...
switched, it
Replace
leaves a
beer with
grease
marijuana
stain.
then.
Let's take away the beer and the coffee. What else are you really eating? I mean, do you eat a salad every once in a while, or are you just existing on pizza and chicken wings? Which I could.
No, I actually eat pretty healthy. I like vegetables. I eat a lot of vegetables. I'm a big fan of stir fry.
Okay, all right.
Is
All right.
stir fry healthy, though? I mean, it's not the worst thing you can eat. I understand. But, put it this way.
Fried rice
I
is not
don't
healthy.
like vegetables. And I only don't like vegetables because I can taste them. But then when you do a stir fry, you cook them all down, you add some stuff. I can get through. I don't love it, but
They're
I can
not
get
vegetable.
through it. And at that point,
Stir fry, I mean, it just depends on what you put in the stir fry.
but is it as healthy as it was before you put it in the stir fries?
Maybe just throw a little oil in there and fry them up. You're good.
Yeah, the white rice is probably the worst thing that kills you. What would you say, Ted, are your 4 foods that you eat the most?
Chicken.
What do you whisper?
She was very specific about chicken wings, but I would say chicken overall.
Okay.
I'll throw. Man, I feel like I'll throw spinach or broccoli. If I eat a green vegetable, it's one of
you're
those.
always eating broccoli.
Yeah,
you
every
eat a lot.
broccoli.
But I don't like it that much.
But you eat it.
It's the
But
last,
you eat the hell out of it.
I know.
You eat it like you love it.
Broccoli.
Pizza?
Yeah, I'd throw pizza in there.
Okay.
I feel like I was a mature adult. So I didn't get a pizza the last week.
All right.
One whole week.
Adulting.
God damn it.
Hey, what else? Chicken, broccoli, pizza, what else?
Maybe coffee too.
Coffee. Okay.
Actually, that's a lie, man. Put beer in there.
Beer.
I drink a lot more beer than I drink coffee.
All right. Steve, we
God.
know vegetables are not going to be involved. What about you?
Honestly, beer, tequila, cigarettes, and pizza. I mean, it's that easy. And listen,
Beer, tequila.
but listen, the pizza thing, the kids, like the one thing you can always agree on because they don't want to eat anything, and it's like, God damn it, we'll get pizza. So I end up eating more pizza than I would normally eat if I didn't have kids, but I can't really complain. But otherwise, yeah, beer, cigarettes, and tequila. That's it, man.
Robin, 4 foods that you eat the most of.
I eat more Brussels sprouts than I'm happy to talk about.
Brussels sprouts?
Chicken,
All right.
for sure.
Chicken seems to be very universal. 3 out of 4. So
Well, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
chicken, it's like tofu made of meat.
And you can have healthy chicken. You can have fried chicken.
Right.
Yeah, you can mix it up, which
Yeah.
is nice. It doesn't have to be
What were you
very
eating
healthy.
this morning? It don't look like
This
something.
morning? Oh, I made chili.
Because
That
if
was
we
chili?
really looked at this,
Yeah,
like
it's
how
pretty
many
good.
people would have more French fries than they mentioned, or how many? Like I'm trying to think. Like
I know someone
I
had
know
French
for a
fries
fact-
this morning.
I know for a fact that I get a
We don't talk
cheeseburger.
about it.
Yeah, but cheeseburger I definitely have to put in there. Chicken wings I definitely have to put in there.
But you said yogurt first. I think that's fair. I see you eat a yogurt. It's like broccoli for me. Like,
Right.
I don't
You're
think
never happy about
Neither
it.
of us are like pumped
Yeah.
like those two are involved.
I know. Eggs, for sure.
Eggs.
Oh,
Okay.
eggs are a good call.
Incredible
Man,
edible
I
egg.
love eggs.
And
Cheese,
I'm
probably.
trying
The
to think of
chicken, man, I'm telling you, between its meat and its eggs, we're like, we love you. If you
Yeah.
produce milk, we wouldn't need anything else.
The reason we asked what 4 foods would you say that you consume the most? Let's see here. There's a book coming out, and it's called Let Trump Be Trump, the inside story of his rise to the presidency. And it's by Trump's former campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, and it includes some details on the president's diet. For example, the book says that a typical dinner for Trump when he was on the campaign trail was 2 Big Macs, 2 Filet-O-Fish, and a chocolate malt, which is a chocolate milkshake, right? It's McDonald's.
With malt, yeah.
They
Well,
put-
he's not getting it from McDonald's if he's getting a malted milkshake.
Okay. So, and then, all right, I'm just going to say this.
Trust me, man, my father's a malt guy, and as a kid, he would say, hey, do you want to get a milkshake? And we would have to go far and wide specifically for him to get a malted. We couldn't stop at McDonald's or Arby's or Wendy's. We always had to go to some place that was like independently owned by some guy scratching his butt and smoking a cigarette.
He says that's roughly 2,600 calories, more than most adults should consume in a whole day. I will say this, more than that, I've read the attacks on Trump about his choices as far as what he enjoys to eat. Like that was a terrible call. And I will just say that the last time I had McDonald's, I got 1 Big Mac and 1 fish sandwich. So maybe like it's like,
Oh, he's on to you.
I got half of what he ordered. And everybody's like, that's the worst order you could ever get from McDonald's. I'm like, no, it's not.
It's presidential.
No, it's not, as a matter of fact. It's presidential.
Presidential, you
Damn
classless.
straight it is.
You classless
Don't
heathen.
bust a dude's ass on what he orders from McDonald's. It's pretty solid. The book says, quote,
What could you order from McDonald's that someone's not going to bust your ass? It's McDonald's.
Yeah, well.
If you went to the health menu, then you get to be made fun of.
but the book does say this, quote, on Trump Force One, there were 4 major food groups. Any idea what the 4 major food groups
It's
were?
hamburgers.
It was like McDonald's, KFC.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, pizza, and Diet Coke.
That's right, the Diet Coke.
And they say that he's also he's kind of a germaphobe type guy.
All right.
So he will not eat something that's already open. So if you have a big bag of chips, he's not going to reach his hand in the chips and have any of
Cool.
those chips.
I'd sit next to him.
But because of that, the plane's cupboards are stocked with, quote, Vienna fingers, potato chips, pretzels, and mini packages of Oreos because Trump would not eat from previously owned packages.
But
They
wait,
have a
the
bunch of those
Vienna,
little
like the little sausages?
Vienna little
No.
Vienna fingers.
Vienna fingers, like the little vanilla cookie with vanilla
Oh,
stuff
Jesus.
in the middle.
Okay.
Like
I was
down
like,
there,
look,
there's
man,
nutter
So-
butters.
So Vienna fingers are different than Vienna sausages?
I just thought it was
Yes.
Vienna
Are
sauce
you
because it
sure?
looked like
I'm
fingers.
almost positive because it's
Let's
like
make sure.
Oreos, Vienna fingers. Like he doesn't mean.
Oh, these.
Okay, all right.
the keeper
It's
out.
a sandwich
Okay,
cookie.
okay.
Like we said the other day. Anything, they put a cookie, 2 cookies, and stuff in between. You can't
I'm
go
fine
wrong.
with that.
You can't go wrong
Yeah, I
with
thought the
Also-
Vienna sausage just like, come on, man.
I do find it kind of amazing. Like I'm impressed he can still eat that stuff at his age. You figure the doctors will tell you stop.
Look,
But
I guarantee
Obama,
you.
I have to say, Obama's White House did the same thing. Like, whenever they had those videos, they had apples everywhere, but they had tons of M&Ms and everything stashed all over the place.
Hell yeah.
Ted, I don't care who's in charge. It runs on sugar.
Do you think his doctor has told him not to stop?
I'm sure he has.
Every time he sees Donald, stop. Sure.
Random question, 844-999. Ola, we've got more of your calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Coming up, your guess is as good as mine. Categories, roommates, and food. Your guess is as good as mine. Coming up right after emails from the Men's Room at mensroomlive.com.
Random.
In the meantime, it is our random question. 844-999. Ola. Hola. H-O-L-A. Hola.
H-O-L-A.
Hola.
Hello, Damo. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, Beatriz.
Hello.
Hola.
Hello.
Damo.
Hola. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Damo, what would you say that either you pledged or just by chance, something that you just have promised yourself that you would never do?
Just do again or just do?
Either do because you did it or just do it because it's something that you said, you know what, I'm never going to do that. I never watched an episode of Friends. I'm sure it's a great show. I have seen small snippets of it. But once, like Ted with your never watching Star Wars thing, once you kind of establish the fact and you say out loud that I've never watched a Friends episode, be like, how the hell did you never watch Friends? And you start going you know what? I'm never going to watch it now. I'm never going to give it a chance. So it was kind of like that. And I think because of that, I don't know anything really about the show. I know the characters. I know all the actors. I know the actresses that were on the show.
You know all you need to know.
I know everything about the show, except for I've never seen the show before, and I just kind of pledged, I'm not going to watch it. Because everybody says, you got to watch it. So I'm like, no, I don't.
It's all right.
Yeah, whatever. But still, it's
it's all right. It's like a top 40 hit. It's fine. But it's nothing.
Well, is that a never do again? Or
look, man.
Either one.
I've never done heroin. I have no intent on doing it, right? So, in that sense, that's something I swore I'd never do.
Right.
After kidnapping someone, I said I would never drink tequila again. And to be honest with you, I went 13 or 15 years without doing it. But our first sponsor ever on this show happened to be a goddamn tequila company that insisted that we try it.
I'm pretty sure
back on the train.
Long Island iced teas, I swore off.
Yeah,
I've never had one since then. I've just, those times when
mind erasers,
puking in your toilet, and you go, God, if you just let me live there, I swear to God, I'll never drink this crap again, kind of thing. Where that's when I become religious.
Okay, so back when I was about 16 years old, I spent a couple of summers in Spokane. There was a girl over there that I was crazy about, and at that time, somebody had told me that if you take a whole package of Dramamine and drink a couple of deuces, you get a really cool, psychedelic trip. And so, so I did that, and sure enough, it was probably the trippiest trip I've ever had, because whatever I thought was in my visual, I could see it.
So if you thought anything, it suddenly appears in front of you?
Yeah, and so, and I know that hopefully nobody goes out there and tries to do this, because this really is just terrible. It's a terrible experience.
So why did you explain how to do it, man?
And here's what you do. You take 3 matches. You get yourself a pile of baking powder.
Right. Yep, so I did it, and I was laying there in my bed with my girlfriend, and then the lights are off, and all of a sudden the door opens and the lights go on, and my buddy walks in, and I started having a conversation with him, and I was like, why are you over here? I thought you were supposed to be at Rob's house. And my girlfriend leans over and nudges me, and she's like, who are you talking to? And as soon as she did that, the lights were off and the door was closed, and I was like, what?
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you say now.
That does it. I kind of want to try
What pledge or thing did you promise yourself you never do?
The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.